I want you to imagine this scenario. The kids are fighting over who gets to hang the next ornaments. The baby is crying, and Shania was elbow deep in cookie dough that she'd promised to bake for the school party. Her husband walks in asking about dinner. She nearly snapped. This wasn't the magical holiday moment that she imagined. She wanted to enjoy the season, but between the endless commitments, family expectations, and her own desire to make everything perfect, she felt completely overwhelmed. That's when she realized that something had to change, because if she kept chasing perfection, she'd miss the beauty that was right in front of her. Can you relate? So, as you know, we are quickly coming up upon the holiday season already. Can you believe it? Oh my goodness, this year is almost over. So, today we're talking about hosting the holidays. Okay, we're going to be discussing how to avoid stress and drama this season. If you have been enjoying these episodes on the Toddler Mom Diaries podcast, please take a moment to leave a 5-star review. It is completely free, but it does help other mamas to find this show so that they can be blessed by the content as well. The holiday season, it comes quickly, it goes quickly. And we really want to make sure that we are enjoying every moment. So I'm going to give you a few tips. Are you ready? Number one is to remember the purpose, gratitude, and worship. Before the commencement of this holiday season, you want to mentally prepare yourself of the purpose of this holiday season. Like, why do we celebrate this holiday in the first place? For Thanksgiving, it is to practice gratitude and to reflect on the many blessings that God has bestowed upon us. For Christmas, it is a time of worship and reverence as we reflect on the birth of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. He was born to sacrifice his life for all humanity, and that is a huge deal. And when we get to that Christmas season, you want to slow down enough to really reflect on that time. I think with holidays, we get so caught up in all the other things, all the extra fluff that makes that time special, that sometimes it's easy to really forget to slow down and think about the real purpose while we're celebrating the holiday in the first place. So I encourage you, as we enter into these holidays, make sure that you hold on to the true purpose and reason that we're celebrating, because that is going to take a huge load off all in itself. When we enter into the holiday season with the right purpose, it's going to be easier to avoid getting too caught up in the holiday hustle. When you're tempted to be overwhelmed, you can ask yourself some of these questions, like, will God still be glorified? Or what am I celebrating? 1 week from now, will I consider this a big issue or a small issue? Do I need to take a break and regroup? Should I remove something off my plate? Should I ask someone for help? When we slow down and ask ourselves those questions, that's really going to help us to reevaluate what we're prioritizing. For example, if you are baking dessert for a family gathering and you're feeling overwhelmed because you have all these pies and cookies and things that you're baking, slow down and ask yourself, will God still be glorified? If I'm 1 pie short, will God still be glorified? Yes, he will, because what you're doing is an act of service for the people who are going to be eating your baked goods, right? It's an act of service. What am I celebrating? Well, if you're cooking for Thanksgiving, you are celebrating God's goodness. You are practicing a time of gratitude and really being appreciative of all the things that God has blessed you with. Ask yourself, 1 week from now, am I going to consider this a big issue? No. 1 week from now, I'm quite sure you would not really care that you were 1 pie short, okay? And do I need to take a break and regroup? You very well may. If you've been in the kitchen all day, as I know some people do, if you've been up for hours and hours baking and cooking and doing all the things, you may need to take a break. You may need to sit on the couch and take a break, may need to go take a nap, right? Go do something fun, get some fresh air. You might need to just pull back for a moment and regroup and ask yourself, should I remove something from my plate or ask for help? Maybe that's something that you can do. Maybe while you're baking, you're also trying to do dishes, and you can ask one of your older kids, say, hey, I'm trying to get these last few pies done. You want to help me bake these pies? Can you grab those eggs from the fridge? Any of those things are really going to help reduce some of that overwhelm. And it's very simplified, right? Very, very simplified. But I want to encourage you to remember the purpose as we go into these holidays. Why are we celebrating in the first place? Okay. The second one is to peacefully prioritize what matters. We're going to emphasize peace as we're prioritizing what really matters here. What do you want your holiday season to be centered around? Prioritize the things that are going to help you honor God, that are going to help you spend quality time with your family and enjoy your family holiday traditions. Let go of any unrealistic expectations and instead focus on Christ-centered memories. This is how we live a Christ-centered life. This is not just a cliche. Oh, we have a Christ-centered home. Oh, we're living a Christ-centered life. Oh, Jesus is the center. Like, this is how we make that happen. We're going to focus in on things that honor God, Christ-centered memories, activities. And what that means is, as you're participating in these things and as you're doing these things, you are keeping the main thing, the main thing. If it's Christmas, we are celebrating the birth of Christ. We are celebrating what he has done for us, right? We are celebrating that whole nativity story that everyone, likes to display during the holiday season. That is what we are celebrating, the miraculous birth of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. When you focus on that and you prioritize making sure that everyone has an understanding that this is why we're celebrating in the first place, and if this event didn't happen, we wouldn't be celebrating this holiday. If you prioritize that, then that is going to help you keep that holiday Christ-centered. So ask yourself, during the holiday season, are you and your husband loving toward one another? Are you guys enjoying your time together? Or are you mean and snappy and irritable and bossing each other around and being rude and disrespectful and not spending time together? You have a choice. You have a choice. It is literally up to you. Like, what do you want your holiday to look like? I don't know about you, but I think that is a wonderful time to really enjoy the people that you love. That's a wonderful time that I like to take to spend time with my husband even more than I already do, right? So you want to make sure that you're asking yourself these things. Are your children learning about the true meaning and the reason of the holiday? Or are you irritated with them and yelling at them because they're in the way and they're being busy? How are they going to perceive the holiday? If you've been in the kitchen all day, which I'm not opposed to being in the kitchen, but if you've been in the kitchen all day and they've been working your nerve and they can tell they've been working your nerve, is that the memory that you want to give them for the holiday? Like, do you want them growing up saying, yeah, the holidays, my mom was always irritated with us. She always thought we got on her nerves during the holiday. Like, no, you want them to understand the true meaning and purpose of the holiday. So make sure you slow down to teach them, regardless of their age. Make sure you slow down and have those conversations and discussions with them and keep the priority at the forefront of their mind as well. Can they see Christ in the holiday season in your home? Answering such questions is going to help you prioritize building a legacy rather than solely passing down holiday traditions. There's nothing wrong with passing down holiday traditions. I think you should, but you also want to make sure that you are building a legacy and raising your kids in the Lord. And this is how we do it over the holiday season. Now, number 3 is to plan ahead. And girl, you already know how I feel about planning. Like, I just love it. So we're going to plan ahead during this holiday season. Use your planner. We've talked about using a planner many, many times on this show. As you plan, be sure to schedule in some time to rest, to be flexible when you need to, because you know how things can be, right? You know how things can be. You need to make sure that you're allowing some flexibility when something comes up or you're not able to do things the way that you initially intended. You want to make sure that you build in some grace, build in some space to be flexible, and build in some time to rest and take a break. Avoid waiting until the last minute to cook and decorate and complete all the holiday tasks, because when you wait until the last minute, that can be overwhelming and exhausting. And we don't want the holiday season to be like that. So that's why we're going to plan ahead. Consider cooking days or even weeks in advance. Many foods that you prepare, like mac and cheese and sweet potato pies and collard greens and dressing and things like that, those can be prepared, they can be cooled down, and they can be placed in the freezer for weeks or even months in advance. Okay. When you store them properly, they're going to taste just as delicious as they would if you had prepared it on that exact day. This is what I do because growing up, I would see my mom and, my grandma, within the family, usually it's passed down. Like, you see the mama up late in the middle of the night, she's cooking into 11 o'clock and 12 o'clock, or 1 o'clock, or she's waking up really early, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning. And I was like, I don't want to do that. I like my sleep. I like my sleep. I'm not doing that, but I still want to pull this off. How can I pull this off? Oh, let me break it up into days and cook things in advance. There have been some holiday seasons where I've made the sweet potato pie in October and put it in the freezer. And come Thanksgiving time, I take that pie out the freezer, let it thaw, pop it in the oven, make it a little warm, put some whipped cream on it. It'll be so good and fresh, just like the day that I first made it, how we consumed it then. And that works for me. If you have not tried it, I encourage you to do so. Certain things now, okay? Some things you cannot just throw in the freezer. So you need to be familiar with what can be frozen, what needs to be cooked fresh. But the things that I mentioned, macaroni, sweet potato pies, collard greens, dressing, I've frozen all of those things and they have been delicious. So that is going to help you to really get everything done and not be overwhelmed and not be stressed and not be scrambling on the actual day of the holiday. So another option that you can do if you say, oh, I don't want to do it like that, you can also spread out your cooking over the course of the week, right? Maybe, you choose to cook 1 to 3 dishes each day during the week leading up to the holiday, to avoid cooking all the items on the same day. What I mean by that is maybe on Monday, you say, okay, I'm going to do my macaroni. I'm going to do my, greens or whatever. On Tuesday, I'm going to do, the pie, or however you decide to organize that and orchestrate that would be completely up to you, especially whether or not you're going to use the freezer. But that's another option that you have. Again, that saves you time. Or you don't want the freezer at all. You can do it Wednesday, cook some things, and then Thursday cook some things, right? So that it was just cooked the day before. It's still good, like leftovers. And some food, it tastes good when it's been sitting in the fridge, let the flavors marinate. So that might be something you consider. If it's Thanksgiving, on Wednesday, cook half of what you plan to make. And then on Thursday, cook the other half. And that is still going to cut that work down literally in half when you do it that way. And that's going to save you time on doing dishes and all the things, what we got to do for the holidays. Do the same thing when it comes to your shopping, preparing decorations, wrapping gifts. When you plan and you complete the tasks ahead of time, you have less to do on the actual day. So this is going to allow you to put your feet up, to rest, to be present in the moment so that you can celebrate the holidays with the people that you love. You don't want to be tired and irritated and falling asleep, on the day of the holiday, and you can't really enjoy the moment and enjoy your family because you've been slaving in the kitchen all day. So I encourage you to consider doing things in a way that's going to help you be a little bit more productive so that you can have that space to rest and enjoy and be present. Okay, today's product of the day is going to help you out so much during this holiday season because, as you know, we are having to chop and dice and cut all the veggies. And I don't know about you, but that is honestly my least favorite part. However, this little gadget right here is going to make that process so much easier for you. This is the Fullstar vegetable chopper. It is amazing because it will chop your vegetables in uniform pieces. It will cut into small little dices as well as some larger chunks. If you prefer larger dices, depending on what it is that you are preparing, you just put your veggie in and it will chop and dice that thing for you. It will do it very quickly. It is sharp, so make sure that you are careful, but it gets the job done. Okay, this is the Fullstar vegetable chopper. It is so neat. I use this every holiday season, and truth be told, I even use it on my everyday cooking just because it saves me so much time, and it just takes out that feeling when you have to think about chopping all those veggies, the peppers, the onions, all the things. It's easier to do it here in the vegetable chopper. So I will leave the link for you in the show notes. All right, back to the show. Number 4 is to set boundaries with love. Okay, remember that it's okay to lovingly say no when you need to say no. Be clear about what your family can and cannot do, what they can and cannot commit to. We're not obligated to participate in something just because you did it last year or just because you've done it all the other holidays in the past. Okay, if it's going to put too much strain and stress or even cause unhappiness within your family unit, then politely decline. You know how some events it's like, man, I am not looking forward to doing that, or the idea of doing something makes you feel miserable, then don't do it. politely decline. And when it comes with delicate matters, or, when you're dealing with family, sometimes that can be a little delicate. Consider offering an alternative, an alternative way to go about it. So, for example, if you need to decline baking the cookies for the bake sale this year, maybe you can offer to call a catering company to provide those cookies, or maybe you have someone else in mind who would love to do it. So you say, I'm so sorry, I'm not able to do it this year. Give them some time in advance. Now, don't wait until the last minute to say you can't do it unless an emergency cropped up. But if you're just not feeling it, say, hey, give them some time in advance. You know what? I'm not going to be able to, bake the cookies for you all this year, but I will happily call a catering company to provide cookies for you. Or I have a friend, she's so good with what she does. She loves baking and she would love to help you with this event. Doing something like that is really going to help you ease out of delicate situations. Or maybe, if you can't cook the whole Thanksgiving dinner alone, it's just a lot and it's taxing, and you're working or you're doing whatever you have going on, you tell them, hey, I can't, cook and host and do all the things, but I would be happy to host if you all would volunteer to contribute a dish to our gathering. Whatever it is, if it's delicate, provide some other options. Don't just leave them hanging high and dry. Give them some other alternatives to work with. And be sure to communicate your expectations with extended family, like I said, ahead of time, so that you can avoid misunderstandings, okay? Because that's how people end up dealing with drama and just unnecessary stress. Number 5 is keep it simple, sis. Okay, we want to keep it simple. Don't overcomplicate things. Don't overthink things. We want to opt for simple, not extensive. Okay, select meaningful traditions that align with your values rather than trying to do all the things. Because we live in a time, especially where you caught up, looking at what other people are doing, people doing all the things. You don't have to do all the things. Do the things that are meaningful to you and your family. Simplify your meals, gift giving, simplify the decorations. Consider how you can do everything in a thoughtful way, a meaningful way, rather than focusing too much on being extravagant. Complicated and extravagant means there is more potential for stress and overwhelm. So instead, do it well now. Do it well, do it with excellence, but keep it simple. Number 6 is to involve the whole family. Invite your children to participate in age appropriate tasks like helping bake the cookies, or decorating, or wrapping gifts, or cleaning up, or whatever it is that you need help with that is appropriate to the age of your kids. Invite them in, pull them in. One thing that I notice as a mom is when I invite my daughter in to do certain activities and tasks with me, one, it keeps her busy. 2, it allows us to spend more quality time together. And 3, it gives her an opportunity to be occupied so that she's not tempted to be a little busy bee, if you know what I mean. So consider that your kids are bored and they need something to do, or even if they're just hanging out, use that as an opportunity to kind of invite them in and get them involved. That's going to be a way that you can spend more time together as a family, build these, create these memories and these traditions. And it's also going to help you out as well. So involve your family, solicit your husband's help as necessary. I'm sure he may have other things he has going on too, but if you need help, solicit his help. If you are busy cooking, you can respectfully ask him to take out the trash when it's full, or to load the dishwasher, or entertain the guests, or dry the dishes, or whatever it is that you need help with. And let us know that I said respectfully. Don't wait until you're feeling stressed and overwhelmed and then you sarcastically ask him to take the trash out. That's not a recipe for success during the holiday season, okay? Don't wait until you're burnt out and overwhelmed. Maybe communicate what you may need ahead of time. Hey, honey, I'm going to go in. I'm going to be spending a lot of time cooking in the kitchen, but I noticed the trash is getting kind of full. Do you mind, taking the trash out? Right? You could do that ahead of time. Or when you're in the moment and you're following these tips and you're not stressed out, you can lovingly and respectfully ask him to help you with any of those tasks in a respectful way. And that is going to fly way better than doing it sarcastically with an attitude. Okay, let's not do that this holiday season. But inviting your family in, that family teamwork is going to lighten your load. You guys are going to be spending time together and making memories. And it just makes for a great time. and you don't feel like the servant in the kitchen doing all the things. So you can use these activities as teachable moments as well to instill good values and teach about the joy of giving and the story of Christ during these times also. So take advantage of those opportunities. You can do this even when your littles are young. Now, if you have like a 1 year old, you might want to build in that extra time and space for that, because 1 year olds do need a little bit more guidance depending on the activity. But if your kids are a little bit older, they have the capability to really, really come through and help. Like I said, my 3 year old is very helpful, and she can help me, crack the eggs or stir the whatever it is that I need. And it actually be a help and not a hindrance. So know what your kids are capable of and choose activities and tasks that they can actually help with instead of setting you back and making you do more work. Okay, number 7, limit social media. This is so that we can be present, okay? Avoid scrolling on social media during the holiday season. You already know how it goes. Everybody posts all the things, and you just want to really help yourself to avoid comparing your holiday celebration to other people's holiday celebrations, because you know that's what they do. They post all the things they have going on, and then it's easy to look at what they're doing and compare yourself and what you're doing to their highlight reel. So just avoid it altogether. Social media can really amplify unrealistic expectations, and it can foster discontentment. And that is not what you should be feeling during the holidays. Okay. So instead, use that time to focus on your family, your real life, the real meaning of the season, the real meaning and purpose of the holiday. Be present in the moment and cherish the people that you get to spend this holiday season with. Cherish those moments, and just put social media on the back burner, especially if it is something that is distracting to you. You know yourself, but by and large, with most people, social media is pretty distracting when you're scrolling and looking at what everyone else is doing. It's not really serving anyone well, okay? So consider that. If you need to take a step back for the holiday, take a step back, and you may just enjoy it that much more. Put the phone down. I've said that before. Put the phone down. When we put the phone down, we can really be present. And our kids see that too. Can I just say that? Your kids see it too. They see when you're always on the phone. They see when you're distracted, scrolling or checking an email or texting whoever. Your kids want your time. Better yet, your husband wants your time. Give your family your time, especially if you do tend to be distracted throughout your everyday life. If you're just, always in the hustle and bustle, and you're working and you're often on your phone, and, make sure that you shut it all down and really use this holiday season as a time to be fully present. Put the phone down. Okay. Okay. So the holidays don't have to be perfect to be meaningful. Sometimes it can be very tempting to want everything to be perfect and look a certain way and smell a certain way and be a certain way. They don't have to be perfect to be meaningful. And the reality is life just isn't perfect. Again, do it well. Do it to the best of your ability, but don't put the pressure and the stress on yourself trying to make it perfect. When you focus on what truly matters, like faith and family, and creating a peaceful home, a peaceful environment, honoring God, making it Christ-centered, you can let go of stress and embrace the joy of the holiday season. This year, I give you permission to keep it simple, to set boundaries, and enjoy the moments that matter the most. After all, the greatest gift that you can give your family is a calm, peaceful, joyful heart as you worship God together. Depending on the time that you're listening to this episode, I'm wishing you a happy holiday season, and I will talk to you soon.